Polling booths are open across the Northern Territory as the country's first major mid-pandemic election gets underway. Our reporter Mitch Abram has been chatting to voters about the issues that matter to them at polling booths in Alice Springs.
Well, there's been a lot of big issues this campaign heading up to the election. I think one of the biggest ones has been fracking. Obviously, that was a big issue back in the 2016 election, and it seems to be just as big of an issue this year as well. There's a few different stances from some of the different parties. Obviously, Labor and the CLP support it in some way or another. Territory Alliance made some headlines a few weeks ago saying that they don't and that they would ban fracking. So obviously, that's a big thing on the minds of Territorians. Given that we're in the middle of the pandemic and obviously the devastating economic impact that it's had, the economy is another big issue as well, and that's been another issue for the last few years as well. Obviously, it's well known that the Territory is in some dire straits when it comes to our economy, and obviously the COVID pandemic hasn't worked, so I think a lot of people are really interested to see what parties are going to do if they do get government to help the economy recover, especially here in Alice Springs. Obviously, tourism is such a big thing, so that's such a big draw card for that. So, like I said, we spoke to a few people today, so here's a little bit of what they had to say earlier.
The policy for safety, security, but would they keep their promise? That's a different question altogether.
Fracking is a big issue. It's been a big issue in Queensland where they've found real problems in some places. So I've been interested in what my candidates' viewpoints have been on those issues.
And Mitch, of course, this election underway mid-pandemic. What are numbers like there today at polling booths?
Yeah, there's been a bit of fluctuation in the numbers here. We're at Gillen Primary School at the moment, which is in the electorate of Araluen. We've also been to Breitling Primary School in the electorate of Breitling. As I said, the numbers have been fluctuating through the day, so polls opened at 8 o'clock local time here. A bit quiet for the first few hours, and then maybe around 10 or so, there was quite a big pickup in people, quite a few queues actually, which is obviously something that they're trying to minimise with the COVID restrictions at the moment. Obviously, everyone's social distancing. But this afternoon as well, there's been kind of that flux and ebb and flow as well. I think just after lunchtime, it was really, really busy as well. Obviously, nowhere near as busy as we would normally see. Early voting has been massive this election. I think yesterday the figure was 53% of Territorians had cast their votes before the polls opened, so that's been a massive turnout for that. Obviously, one of the biggest concerns that's come from those figures is the low voter turnout in remote areas. Some of the figures that we're throwing around was that some of the electorates, I think, or some of the communities, those numbers are going to be as low as 50% of people not voting in some communities. So obviously the Electoral Commission is welcoming so many people taking early voting seriously and taking advantage of it, but obviously they're also very concerned about the low voter turnout. So some mixed things so far with the voting here.